Cecily Elmas. I never say
Yeah.
your last name because I just call you
Elmas.
Cecily. Cecily
Yeah.
Elmas.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the time. We used to be neighbors
Oh, I
ish.
loved that.
Yeah, I
That
used
was
to
a nice
wander
time.
over to your house and do yoga in your garage,
Yeah.
and now times
Remember
have all
those
changed.
days?
I
Good
remember those
days. Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are, well, I know you're an extremely good yoga teacher because I
Oh,
love
thank you.
doing yoga with you. Yeah. It's funny, the yin and the yang of Peter, your husband.
Yeah.
He's like this soft, kind of like quiet yoga. And then you're in there. It's like, come on, we're going to sweat. We're going to make you work. And I prefer that hard approach. I got to say, it's more my vibe. Let's get on with it.
Oh, that's so funny, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
yin and the yang.
And you're a personal coach, right? Mainly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did a master's last year in executive and organizational coaching. So I am a personal coach, and I coach leaders and executives and humans, all of it.
Right. What drew you to the executive world?
It was somewhere in my life that I noticed I wasn't confident. And anytime a partner of mine would say, I have an executive here for you to coach, I would say, no, not me. Or I would do it and I would notice inside that I really wasn't confident. I was
Mm.
really confident with everyone who considered themselves a leader. But as soon as you put a title to it, I saw that I was just missing a bit of confidence.
So that was your way of like walking into the fire?
I typically do that throughout my life, that where there's a gap, I just throw myself in and go, okay, well, I'm just going to go explore this gap and see if I can build some confidence here or some strength.
Huh. Because I was reading, I did a little, I mean, I know you, but I went online and,
Yeah. Oh, nice.
and I think you said something. Let me just pull it up. I got my notes here.
I say a lot of things. Let's see what you found.
Can you, I hope people like my work syndrome. Is that something you said?
I hope people like my work syndrome.
Which would be kind of like imposter syndrome, which I think is kind of what you're talking about, right?
Oh, I don't know if I said that. Did you find that somewhere? I
I
like
think I
that.
did. Yeah. Which is like another way of saying imposter syndrome. I would is that what you were experiencing as people would present like, hey, I've got a corporate client for you, and you're like, yeah, I'm not. I feel like an imposter in that world. I'm not brave enough, or I'm not skilled enough to do it.
I felt like have you heard give your power away or lose your power, things like that?
Yeah.
Like when you literally go somewhere and you just drain and you don't know who you are. You're like, wow, like I literally didn't show up to the table. And so I would find myself in those moments like just recently, the last, I would say 5 years, and I would put myself into these executive settings and didn't know. I knew what I wanted to say, but I wouldn't say it. And so I would witness myself showing up really small. And then after, the debrief was like, well, that didn't go as well as it could have for me. Since I
Hmm.
did the program, it's been night and day. Now I coach a ton of executives.
And you feel confident.
Oh, it's just like I'm just showing up. I'm there and I say the thing that needs to be said, and
So
it's
you
great.
had it. You had it all along, but you didn't feel confident to be able to say the thing that was stirring in your belly, type of thing.
Yeah. Confidence is such a big word. I know, we bottle it all up, but I just needed the information. I needed more information to know which direction to go so I could say the thing that needed to be said or direct everyone in a new direction with knowledge, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I struggle with that too. In like, I feel like very similar to you in the way that when something is really challenging, or I throw myself into it.
Mm.
I've done that throughout my whole life, and I encourage it with people that I know. I'm like, if I always say, I know if I know 50% of the information, I usually go in like I know 100. I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you read the book to the end? Not really. I think I can figure it out along the way.
I heard this year you don't have to. You just read the thing in the book that you need to get, and then you close the book and never have to come back to it.
Oh, you
So
heard that
good.
that's okay?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did hear someone gave someone permission this year. I was reading a podcast or reading something, and I was like, oh, yes, that's so true.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it does blow up in your face when you don't read all the instructions. It's like you get out to the
Oh,
middle of the ocean and you realize, oh shit, I don't know how this engine works. I'm all alone.
yeah.
I maybe should have
I
read the small
should.
print.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, there is something to say about throwing yourself in substantial growth, right? Like
right.
knowing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the type of person that needs to feel like Tara, my partner. She needs to feel like all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed before she ventures into anything new. Whereas I'm like with this podcast, for instance, I was like talking to my sister. I'm like, I think we should do a podcast, and she's like, oh. And for years she's fiddling around, like I don't know. And in my head, I'm just like, all we got to do is hit record, just do it. Like what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
And then I called her one day. I said, "We're just doing it. I'll see you on Wednesday." I've downloaded the app, and my friends are like, "But to me, that's just normal." I'm just like, the opportunity is there. Like, all I got to do is hit record. Like, anyone can do this. But a lot of my friends are like, "Oh man, you just kind of like talked about it and then you did it, hey? Like you just
Mm.
kind of did it, hey?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." But I'm more of a doer.
I appreciate that so much about you, which is why I keep coming back to you when there's things in my house that I need. I'm like, how do I create this? And then I know I
mm,
can come to you and you're like, we're just going to do it. And you remove all of the barriers
yeah,
because I do that, but in areas that I know I have some expertise.
yes.
So it's really satisfying when other people are like, I see it and we can do it
Have a vision. Yeah.
and then execute.
hmm What would you say so in the corporate world, what's the
Yeah.
biggest blockage that you are usually trying to work through in people? Like, is there a common like thread in humans, I guess, that you see that's like the biggest mountain to traverse
I mean,
psychologically, maybe?
yeah, I love that you started with like the corporate world and then humans because that is maybe the main thing is that everyone is human. It depends on some people are overworked and
hmm
out of balance, and some have major imposter syndrome coming back to that because they just keep climbing this ladder, right? They keep getting to new roles and then they're like, but I've never done this role. So how do I be me in this role?
hmm
And then some people at certain ages, as we grow, they're like, what do I want to do in my life? Like I know
Yeah.
I've gotten here, but like now what? What's it time for?
Mm.
A lot of so that's like the coaching world, right? Where I get to like go deeper into one-on-one coaching with people. And then I like to say, and this is what I've done recently, is when people get feedback, right, about who they're being at work and how they're acting and communicating, people feel like they have to change themselves. And I like to intervene and say, it's never about you changing who you are. It's about building awareness on the impact you're having.
It's never about changing who you are, but it's about building awareness.
On the
How'd you end that?
impact that you're having. So if someone says to someone in a performance review, which is a very corporate thing that people do, right? I'm going to tell you about you and your performance. And
hmm
then they're like, you interrupt people too much. You talk too much. You are someone that people can't relate to. People don't understand you. You're not nice, like whatever it is.
hmm
They go on a journey to go, oh, shoot, I have to change myself. I'm not good
Right.
enough. And I like to come in and say, well, let's look at what you're good at and why you're doing what you're doing and what's behind it all. Um, and what makes you you. And then we get to go deeper into like what makes you you. And when you say the thing, what is the impact on other people?
hmm
And then how can we become more of who you are, not change who you are?
Right. Yeah. I can only relate to these things to myself, and like I'm 53 now and still struggling to be at peace with myself.
Mm,
I'm like, you'd think at this age you would just not give a shit about what anyone thinks. But
mm.
I find myself still, and I don't know if it's I don't know if you've, how long have you been doing coaching?
I've been coaching since 2017 officially
Hmm.
on a side business.
So there's always been technology. Like I don't know how you see it in your line of work, but have you seen like the advancement of technology as far as social media and now this comparison um, epidemic that we seem to have in our world, where everyone's comparing themselves to the best of the best? Do you see that playing a big part in this kind of internal tearing that people feel like inadequate? and like, I should be this, I should be better at this, I should be doing this, like the
Mm.
shoulds.
Well, so throughout my life, let's say when I was little, I personally practice don't compare myself to other people because I will never be them. So like I was a dancer. I'll just give you this one example because this is how I'm like, oh, this is just always how I've rolled. I was a dancer, and everyone in the world said, you will never get a job. It's a competitive field. This will
Mhm,
never be a profession for you. And I don't know if that motivated me more, or in my mind, I was like, well, that's one perspective. So I got a job in a 6-person company in my 20s when no one else thought that that was possible. And I just didn't listen. I just shut off the noise and I went, this is my path and I'm going to do it. And it's possible for me. So I then got a job in a 6-person company where women kind of ruled the field. So men, it was easier to get jobs in the modern dance field back then. Um, and it never stopped me. So then I just witnessed my career and where I was. And when people were like, well, that's not possible, it's such a competitive field, I was like, got it. And here we go. And so I just witnessed myself getting the things because I never listened to the noise. With
mm,
Instagram, social media, TikTok, I mean, all of those things, I anytime I feel myself going into comparison of someone, I shut it down because I know that's the unhealthiest way and it'll limit me.
mhm,
So now I've switched it years ago, actually, that when I saw something and I went into, let's say, the word jealousy, like, oh, I wish I could do that. I switched it to, I have a goal by seeing that I haven't achieved yet. And then I narrowed down. So what's the goal that I want to work on that I'm seeing someone else do? That's possible for me.
mhm,
Example, if someone always posted hot weather travel and I was like, gosh,
mm,
why aren't why aren't I on the beach in Hawaii? I
mhm.
switched it to, I want to be on the beach in Hawaii. And then I would sit down with my goals and go, how is that possible? And then I'd be happy for them.
Wow, you're an anomaly then.
Well, I just learned what pulls me down
Yeah, I
and then
mean, it
stop
sounds like
doing
you're
it.
very self-aware. I think a lot of us we don't know that the chocolate that we keep ingesting or the candy that we keep ingesting is hurting us. We're just kind of like, why do I feel uncomfortable? But I guess a lot of people don't actually zoom back and think, well, yeah, it's easy, dude. You're just filling yourself with Skittles every day. That's why you feel like shit, you know?
Well, I literally went into a boardroom last in November and someone's birthday. So there was a huge chocolate cake. And I walked in and they're all eating cake. And they go, Cecily, have some cake. And I was like, oh, no, thanks. And they're like, why aren't you eating the cake? And I was like, I'm not on a diet. I will eat cake maybe later this week, but I don't want to feel like crap after I have this piece of cake.
Mhm.
And they said, how do you do that? And I was like, well, I visualize myself
Feel
after
like
I've eaten
crap.
the big piece of cake, and I go to that moment where I feel like that, and I go, "Do I wanna feel like that right now, and is now the time?"
Mhm.
And the answer was no, because I still had a full day of work.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
you're
it's
really
funny that you said
pragmatic.
the Skittles.
Yeah, I had the same thing. Like I remember, like when I was in a band, touring band, and you're always at bars, always alcohol, and
Mhm.
I was surrounded by a lot of people that they couldn't not drink if it was
Yeah.
free and it was being given to you. But to me, I felt like an old man. I was like, no, because I don't want to feel like, yeah, I would just do the math very quickly in my head. I'm like, this equals this equals this. I don't need this to have fun. I can have fun without it. And the hangover is sucks so bad that now I'm fine without it. But I was surrounded by so many people that couldn't help themselves. Um, I guess it's just different people in the world, but yeah, I'm very much like that. I do the quick math in my head.
Yeah.
It's like going to like yesterday. It's funny because I exercise a lot, but I work a lot with my hands, so that is a form of exercise. Like I'm always going,
Yeah.
and I was halfway through the day, and I'm like, because Tara's working out last night, so I stay at home. So I'm like, I'm going to do a hit workout. Have you ever done those 20-minute hits?
I did, yeah, I have.
Yeah, like I did them all the time during COVID because I
Yeah.
wasn't allowed into the gym. And I could feel this like fear kind of come up in me because I just knew how it was going to suck. It was just like internal like mathematics going on. I'm just like, just do the thing. Like it's like
Yeah.
cold plunging. Don't think of, just do the thing. and I've really strengthened that muscle in my head to just not think things to nauseam when it comes to that type of thing, and just
Yeah.
go. But I know that on the other end of doing that, I'm gonna feel really good. So the pain is worth the gain.
Yeah.
But I think the muscle that we have to work, and I try and instill this in my kids, is like cold plunging to me is the perfect example, because I know people at cold plunge, they've done it for years and years and years, and they say it sucks every single time.
Mm,
And I was doing it with a friend of mine up the road here to help him. He was going through a really rough divorce. He goes, "Will you join me at the
mm.
beach?" And we started in like January,
Yeah.
and it was a
Wow.
cold winter, like -10,
Oh,
minus
and you went into
15.
the ocean.
Yeah, naked.
Oof.
Because everyone over here does everything on the island is everyone does everything naked over
Everyone.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
clothes
it's a
are off.
nudist island. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, totally.
Mm.
And so we would sit in his truck, and there would be, like, ice all over the rocks and snow blizzarding, and you just have to turn your mind off, like, just
Yeah.
do the thing, and because if you try to reason it, you will not be doing it, you know?
I love that you said you have to exercise your mind. Like it is like a workout for your mind.
Mhm,
And what you're saying to yourself, and this is what I work with people all the time in communication workshops and one-on-one, is whatever you're saying to yourself is what's going to happen. So when you cold plunge, right? Like we had a retreat in November in Mexico. I know it's hot outside, but the water was cold.
mhm,
So going into the cold plunge, I just literally stepped in and laid down. And that was, um, I know if I overthink it and tell myself this is going to be hard and what am I doing, I won't do it. So, what you say before you do the thing will set you up to win or fail.
mhm,
And we are always having conversations with ourselves in our mind before we do or say anything. But if we can
mhm.
get to know that part of ourselves, we will succeed or we will
Cata
make choices based on that.
Yeah, my sister and I were talking about this, like catastrophizing. Like you build things up in your head, and then before you know it, it's an X-rated, violent movie going on.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think that like the art of because I know you do yoga and meditation. Do you think the art of meditation is coupled? Because when I started learning meditation, the thing that really jumped out at me, and it seemed like this was like, for me, it was the main piece, was understanding that you are not your thoughts.
Hmm.
And I always thought, like, if you were to ask me before I got into meditation, like, who are you? I'd be like, well, I'm all this in here.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am. And learning about meditation, I learned, no, you are not your thoughts. Like all
Yeah.
this shit going around your brain is just like it's like a factory. It just keeps moving. It's not reality.
Yeah.
Um,
That's really accurate. It's meditation. Meditation is where you can get silent to hear your thoughts, and then you can quiet the thoughts or find more space between the thoughts.
yeah, and not
That's where you can
identify
practice
as your
it.
thoughts, right?
You just let them go like a filing cabinet. Filing cabinet is such an old metaphor.
Yeah. Where have
Like
you
who has
ever
a
seen?
filing cabinet?
I know. Valley Village has filing cabinets.
Yeah. The garbage dumpster has filing cabinets. It's almost like
Shows your age.
clouds. There's a better one. Clouds, you just wanna let them pass, but there's a lot of work done. So, there's the whole mindfulness meditation movement, right, that a lot of
Mhm,
people haven't explored. If you have, it's like finding the space between the thoughts and not attaching to any of them. Then there's the whole, like, neuroscience movement where it's teaching us around you are not your thoughts, your prefrontal cortex is here, and you want to, like, there's this whole thing around flipping your lid when you're in reaction and putting your lid on. Your amygdala gets hijacked, and that's where you're just reacting, fight or flight. So you want to get into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is breathing. Inhale. Deep exhale gets you to that really calm state. So it's actually really nice marriage to have the yoga meditation and then a vocabulary for personal development.
mhm. Yeah. Oh, that's really
You know
cool.
what I mean? Like it's all the same. We're all saying the same thing when it comes to responding, being our
Mhm,
best selves, understanding who we are and how we show up in the world.
mhm. Yeah. and it's a never-ending journey. Like, I just found out, I was in a sauna with some friends, and I was just kind of New
I love
Year's,
your life. You're
na
naked on the beach, you're
naked in the sauna.
sauna.
I'm actually naked right now, I just have a hoodie on. You'll never know.
Ah, that's so great.
Um, and I was talking about my relationship and, New Year's and, always wanting to make things better. And it came up that I was probably I had an avoidant attachment.
Hmm.
And I had never heard that before. The attachment, the attachments. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
there's the
looking for
avoidant,
my
there's the
book.
chaotic avoidant. And honestly, they've been around forever, I think, and I'd never heard of it. And just learning about it has completely shifted so much in the way I understand myself and why I do. What are you looking for? A book?
I'm looking for my book called Attached. Do you have your
Uh,
book?
no, I just watch YouTube.
Oh.
There's a guy, there's the attachment guy, and that's all he talks about is
Oh,
attachment.
got it. Okay, okay, okay. I'll leave it. Yeah, I have real books that I,
Yeah,
read.
and you have
Yeah,
filing cabinets too, probably,
and I literally have a filing cabinet. Yeah,
and you have a CD
right.
player, so you are an '80s girl.
So, okay, what shifted for you when you learned that about yourself?
Well, as far as being in a marriage, being in a relationship, I'm learning more about it, but I'm learning more about what an avoidant attachment, like avoidant
Mm,
attachment. This guy that I've been listening to doesn't say, "Oh, you have a problem.
mm,
There's something wrong with you." Like there's something about avoidant attachment. There's lots of things about an avoidant attached style that gets you on in life, and you get shit done and that. But when it comes to communication, and sharing, that's hard. And so there's always a shadow side to just about everything in life. You can always do too much of, you could probably do too much yoga. There's a shadow side in there, right? Like
mhm,
there's always that. And for me, it just really helped me understand and also with that spirit that we first started this conversation about was
mm,
walking into the fire. Like I was like,
mhm,
oh, so now I'm trying to like Tara and I have because what happened is that Tara and I are both avoidant attachment.
mm,
So it wasn't me pointing at her saying you have this. It was like we sat down and I said, how am I gonna approach this? And I kind of said, I think that I have avoidant attachment and my hunch is that you do too. And so we were
mm,
both on this even playing field. And
yeah,
there's certain things with avoidant attachment, like they want things to be fair. That's a huge thing for avoidant attachment uh, syndrome. And then there's a few other classic traits. Um, but so now what we're trying to do is every day we're having a check-in
oh, nice.
and we're saying how are you doing and what can I do for you? And it sounds so trivial to a couple that maybe really communicate a lot, but for Tara and I, we're quite happy to just kind of head down, ass up, beaver on with life. Just keep on working, doing the thing. You know what it's like when you have kids.
Yeah,
You feel like roommates
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
And so um we could probably both coexist for forever almost in that kind of just everything's just okay.
yeah,
Um, and so yeah, we've started to just implement this rule of like checking in,
yeah,
and it's just me simply getting all the thoughts in my head that just keep whirring around and whirring around. I talk myself out of having the conversation because I'm like, well, I have a part to play in that, and maybe it's me, and then after a while, you just suppress. Like that's the avoidant
yeah.
style. You just suppress everything. And
Mm.
so I'm learning slowly just to say what I feel.
Yay, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
It's
good work.
scary. And when someone would meet me or people that know me, like, you're so brave. I'm like, yeah, I'm really brave at a lot of things.
Mhm,
Like I'll go start a business, do the thing,
mhm,
walk out into the stormy ocean of life, no problem. But in
mhm.
relationships and saying what's really on your heart, that scares the living bejeebus out of me. It's like crazy. I'm like, it's
Ye
just words.
Yeah, isn't
But to
that
let those words
interesting?
come out of my mouth and so understanding this avoidant thing has helped me um see the picture more clearly, I guess. And then this
Oh.
rebellion rises up in me. This rebellion is like, I don't want to
Mm.
be a slave to this
To
title.
what?
To
to
the
share
avoidant.
to the
Yeah, just a
avoidant.
s
Yeah.
yeah, I don't wanna be I'm gonna rise above it. So then that
Yeah.
rebellion kinda rises up in me, a good rebellion. It's
Yeah.
like,
I
I'm gonna
do an
walk
avoidant check often. And
with
so
yourself.
with myself. And so I want to say like it's at least once a week. It could be once a month. And I scan in my life all my relationships and all the things I do. And I just go, what am I avoiding? And then I ask myself, and I can journal or write it down. And I just say, which one is most important? Like what needs to be addressed now? And then I go and I do the thing, or I have the conversation that I don't want to have because I know that it's not complete for me in my life.
Mhm. Yeah, I heard someone say when he has boardroom meetings with his staff, he starts the meeting every time with, "What's the hard thing that I'm not saying?" And then he says to his people, "What's the hard thing you're not saying? Let's get
Yeah.
this out the way first." It is
Really
like a
cool.
cold plunge, right? You're just like, "I'm doing it.
Yep,
I'm
it
saying
is
the
like
hard
that.
thing," and then
Yep.
we'll just see what happens, and then it's like mic drop. "Oh, they didn't run away."
So there's all these books and theories and do this and do that around like just do the thing that's courageous. Like just say the thing that needs to be said. Like 5 seconds of courage, right? And
Mhm,
do the thing. Um and I never want anything to fester. Like I don't think that it's good for us for our bodies to have things that we're storing that we're just not saying or we're avoiding. So I
mhm.
think that's a great practice what you're doing.
Do you find that with your corporate, clients that's a well, I guess people that you coach,
Yeah.
is that a big logjam? In just flushing out the thing that's
Yeah,
not
I
being
think
said?
so. It's funny. The one thing that happens when I meet with people, and if someone is listening to this and doesn't, I mean, like, okay, I'll say the thing and then I'll say that thing. People
Say
tend
the
to
thing.
to release. They cry. They tend to have a huge breakthrough, but it can feel like a huge breakdown
Mhm,
because I don't really do anything. I just ask the question. They're the ones realizing things. But
hmm,
when someone asks you questions in a one to one environment, even in group settings, this happens, they have an awakening because no one has asked them these questions before. And then they go, oh shit. And what they do is they literally become aware of something that has been dormant.
mhm.
And then they cry. And so
And then
then
they
they'll be
cry.
like, "Oh, I'm sorry for crying." And I'll say, "You know what? My husband tells me all the time and tells people if he ever meets them that you will cry within the first 15 minutes if you talk to me." But it's not me. It's because people might realize things
Mm.
that
So,
maybe
yeah,
they've
that
been hiding.
yeah.
Or
Yeah, we're
someone
all
said to me he has PTSD from a workshop that I led. And I'm like, "Can you elaborate on that, please?" And he's like, "You held me so accountable. And like, you did not let me off the hook when I didn't
mm.
understand it." And so it wasn't real PTSD. He was joking. But what he really
Yeah, yeah.
appreciated is the challenge that I stayed with it. And a lot of people are uncomfortable and then they just go like off the hook, right? No, no, thanks. I like to be in the place that's uncomfortable for
Mhm,
every single human being in a corporation outside who has never, like an entrepreneur, solopreneur, whatever. Because when we're in that place of uncomfortable, that's where growth happens. But people want to run from growth before it happens.
mhm.
So I
Yeah,
like to get us into that space,
mhm. Yeah, no, that's cool. No, entrepreneurs are under a lot of pressure. Business owners, bosses, you
right?
have to oh, man, it's crazy. Yeah. You said that purpose isn't a fixed destination, it evolves with us.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Your face. Let's talk about that in a sauna, not naked.
Not
Um,
naked, well, I'm naked.
So in my last years of Lululemon, we created something called Purpose and Practice. And we would travel around and facilitate week-long or weekend workshops around helping people find their purpose. And so I really
Mhm,
did a deep dive and study into purpose. And through our coaching, like coaching, you help people find purpose. People think that purpose is a huge thing that they should be like, I found my purpose. And like people feel a lot of pressure to find the one. What I've researched and realized is that purpose is in every moment. And having purpose, having a purpose is something that can be I have a purpose. I am going to make my kids' lunches today. My purpose is to be around or be available for blank. My purpose today is to donate clothes to Salvation Army. My purpose is so purpose can be the things that we do every day on purpose with purpose.
Mhm.
Purpose can also be really big. My purpose is to serve human beings in finding their power.
Mhm.
But on a smaller scale, purpose can be going to the grocery store so your family has food. So I like to take the pressure off. Like your purpose could be having a podcast for people to listen to. It could also be sleeping,
Mhm.
but people think we have to go find it and then get it and have it, and then they never realize they're in it.
So there's micro purposes and big, like small purpose and big purpose. How does that change when your purpose feels like making your kids lunch and taking food clothes to the thrift store? How does that change that experience, knowing
Well,
that?
for me, it's everything. Like if I go, okay, my purpose today is truly to like have food for my kids to eat at lunch. I don't take it for granted that I have food for them to eat because I know even in the North Van district, there's a lot of people that don't even have lunch to give. Like food is so incredible.
Mhm.
Feeding kids, I never take for granted. Like backpack buddies, have you heard of them, right? Like it's just to give kids lunch during the week. So let's say my purpose is to feed my kids lunch. I then won't feel so stressed if I'm not on my emails in the morning. I will not be angry towards them that I have to stop what I'm doing to make them lunch. I'm not angry at them for not making their lunch by themselves yet. And then what I do is I see the ripple effect of like, they now have a lunch. They had a great morning. They're at school. They get to be nourished at lunchtime. They can then focus. And then I'm not mad because they stole my time. Whereas if that wasn't my purpose one day and my purpose was to do my emails, then that would be a distraction for me.
Right. So it's constantly adjusting. There's like a hierarchy of what's important, though, that must be filtered with that.
Yeah, it could be like, what's the most important thing that I need to do now? And I got that from a podcast last year, and I call it MIT. And I share this with all my clients, MITT, most important thing today. And you write down a list of 3 things only that are the most important thing for you to do that day, and you check it off because a
Mhm.
lot of people get lost in their to-do lists and then never
Mhm.
feel successful. And
Mhm.
that's why they keep working, overworking, or wake up really early is because their to-do list just keeps rolling over.
Yeah.
And so what I share with everyone is just write down your top 3 things that you need to do today. The most important thing today, write it down, and then do those 3 things. And maybe that's also called my purpose today,
I
is
think
to
the
do
str-
these 3 things. Yeah.
I think the struggle that I feel, and probably most business owners or people that have kind of a goal oriented, is like, yeah, having kids is the great disruptor, right? To any, like, if you don't have kids, you can live a pretty perfect scheduled life. You have kids, it's like,
Even though people don't feel that, or when we before
right.
kids, remember that? We like,
Yeah.
life would feel
I'm like,
over,
what did I
like
do with all that time? I'm like, "But I did stuff and I didn't feel like I had lots of time on my hands, but holy monkeys, I must have
and
had
my
so
house was
much."
clean and
Like, yeah,
yeah,
and it stayed clean.
it stayed
Yeah,
clean.
and but I know Tara's my wife is quite good at. She sometimes gets flustered when she doesn't feel like she's kind of achieving things,
Mm,
but she will happily drive the kids up the ski hill, come back down. Did I go up? Like, to me, driving is such a waste of time, and
mm.
I'm so geared for optimizing. Like, okay, I'm going to go into town. Okay, so on the way to town, I'm going to stop in here and get this, and then I'm going to do this. And then on the way back, I'll go to the gym so that that's done, and then I don't have to come home and then go out again to the gym. Whereas Tara was like, la la la, drive over to here, drop someone off, come back, have a cup of tea, go here. I'm like, it doesn't feel optimized, but I admire that in a way. Like,
Well, she's living in her purpose. If she has never defined it, by doing that and by being really happy doing that, there's a purpose behind it.
yeah, and it seems like that is almost the same as living in the now, like being in present,
If
like
she's
she was
present
like,
while she's doing it, 100%. But
mm-hmm,
if you're trying to escape while you're doing a task, you're not
mm-hmm.
being in the present, you're somewhere else while this is happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the to-do list. Well, living on a farm has really, really challenged me with that,
Wow.
because it was like we have this book that I grew up on. It's called Old Farm, New Farm. And it's since my childhood, since I was a little kid, and I still have, my mom sent it to me. I still have this book and it's all
Oh my
falling apart.
gosh.
It's basically this farmer and it's all illustrated. He buys this old farm where everything's broken. The barn has a hole in the roof. The pig pen's never been mucked out. The
Mm.
tractor's broken down. And throughout the book, he cleans it all up. And I love that book. I didn't realize why I love that book.
Interesting.
Yeah, to me, it was like a project. And then it's so
Yeah.
satisfying at the end where the garden's all in straight lines and the fences are all fixed and the tractor's
Mm.
parked in its thing and the roof is fixed. And so now I'm living that life. And
Yeah.
you realize every time I look out the window, I'm like, it feels like nothing. I've done nothing. Like there's
Um,
so much to do. I have so many projects. And then the projects keep piling because I create, and like every time I open up a new project, it creates 5 more projects around it. And I find myself feeling this kind of like sometimes acid reflux here. It's like this,
yeah.
like my breath is always like,
Yeah.
um, and I'm not breathing, and I'm like anxious because I'm just so destination oriented. Like I need to get to, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. It's like, but really,
What do
it's
you
about
need though? Like
enjoying
you were just about to say, like, I need to get like, is
to
there
the
a timeline?
destination. Because I think that the pot of gold, the payoff is at the destination. But in
Yeah.
actual fact, the
It's the
key to life,
journey.
what I'm realizing is the journey.
You
And
bet.
just like, in the middle of the day, on a sunny, hot day, I've got all these projects in my mind, and Gabe's like, Dad, I want to go fishing. And in my mind, I'm like, shit. Because I had set in my head to
Yeah.
finish this project. I've learned to just drop my tools. It's like mic drop. Like I literally, it's
Yeah.
like cold plunging. Is that the thing always keeps coming back to it, because cold plunging is such an exercise of suppressing the thoughts and just disciplining the mind and doing the hard thing. And I drop my
Mm.
tools. I just walk towards the truck, and I know in my heart that that is the right thing to do. But it doesn't make it easy
Mm.
because I'm so hardwired for like ticking boxes.
Mm.
It's just a list of, being busy to be busy, you're not just busy being busy. What are you actually
Yeah.
doing? Like I think what I'm doing is I'm numbing the noise.
Mm.
Like work for me is like, it's like my drug. It numbs me out
Mm.
because the thoughts just are chaotic, like this constant creation, this constant, I'm
I
talking
think that's
too
such a
much.
gift, and you're learning what to do and how to manage your gifts.
Mhm.
That's constantly what we're doing. We're like, a lot of people don't have that creative mind and can't see all the things and don't create the things. And so you have this gift. And then it's like, how do I live with my gifts? And so you're just
So
constantly managing your gifts.
right, because there's a shadow side to your gifts.
You can see the shadow side, the downside and the upside and then the balance. And where I like to live is in the balance of it all. I see that
Yeah.
I can do this and I see that I can go here. And so how do I remain really neutral? And then if someone walks up, a kid, and is like, I want to do this, then in my mind I have like 30 seconds to decide if that's where I want to go today. Yeah, because I want to spend time with you. Yes, let's go do that. The other
But if you
thing I
don't
wanted to share, yeah, no, you go.
no, no, go ahead.
I was going to say that what I've witnessed over the years is that a to-do list could be a to-do list. And then, yes, over time, just plug away at it. It could
Mhm.
also be that we think everything has to happen now. So some people have big goals. Let's say I want to, my farm is straight lines and clean. And if you think it has to happen now, then everything is urgent. Whereas if you can spread out goals, and for, owners, businesses, like if you have goals, spread it out and find a realistic timeline of when you want things to be done by, and then work backwards so that you know that everything is not now
Yeah, everything's now
and
for
it has
me.
a plan. What?
Everything's right now for me.
Well, that's when things are all
Yeah, it's chaos.
urgent, and that's chaos because it has to happen now, and that's where we get, like, sleepless nights.
Yeah, yeah. Thankfully, I'm
Whereas
not
there is
having that.
time and plan for it.
Do you remember
When do you
my
want that to
insomnia?
happen? Yeah, yeah,
10
exactly.
years.
Yeah. Is it
10
better? Are you sleeping?
I'm sleeping, but I have to take a medication to help me
Okay.
stay asleep.
Yeah.
It's not really a harmful one. It's like an antidepressant that has sleep. Like I tried everything, and this is the only
Yeah.
thing that works. So if you take a low dose of it, it has a
Mhm.
sleep benefit.
Mm.
And the only side effect I feel is like dry mouth, which is
Okay.
fine because I don't drink enough anyway, so it forces me to drink more water.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful. But it's funny because that's like at that time when I was
Mhm.
a chronic insomniac, like I remember coming to yoga and I was just like
Yeah.
4 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep. I was a zombie.
Totally.
I felt like I was The Walking Dead. But at that
Really.
time, I felt if I can just fix this, I'll be happy. Like this is the only mountain it's in the way it clouds every experience that I have. I just feel tired all the time. So
Yeah.
it clouds everything. And then I get afraid of night. So it's like, and in my head, I'm like, if I can just fix this, then I don't need anything else. But
So are you happy now?
well, that's the funny thing. You just replace it with another thing.
Oh god. Haven't you heard of the "I'll be happy when" syndrome?
No, tell me about it.
Well, so it's in the world of life and goals. And it's the like, I'll be happy when I have a house on a hill over the ocean. I'll be happy when I have $5 million.
Mm.
I'll be happy when I'm in Hawaii. Da, da, da. So people are never living in this moment because you're happier over there. So you're kind of time traveling. You're thinking about a time in the future where you will be happy. And what you miss is this here because you're always in the future. And
Mhm.
so some people go, I'll be happy when, future based. Some people go to, this happened in the past, only if I could get back to that. And so
Mhm.
both are missing the what's here right now and then
Mhm.
plan for the future, but don't wait. And while you're doing the thing, enjoy the thing that gets you there. So, if I was running a marathon, a half marathon, I was never looking forward to crossing the finish line. I really looked forward to the training, the everyday waking up, putting my shoes on and training.
Mm.
That was a bonus in the future, completing a goal, but the daily work was really
Mm.
what I was enjoying. So the enjoy the moment cliche is like truly what we need to work on.
Yeah, it seems like almost everything comes back to that. I mean, it's so crazy. Like every conversation, every health hack, all the shit online, it all comes back to that.
Being present.
Yeah. Why is
Yeah.
that so hard for us? Like animals don't struggle with this because they don't have, I mean, I'm not in the mind of an
I
animal,
know. I was like, that's a bold statement. I would think
but
my
I
dog
got
is always thinking about food.
right. Maybe they're stressed out about that, but generally animals just
Yeah.
live to today, right?
Yeah.
Like my cats have the easiest life ever. They don't even have to hunt for their food. Like, yeah, I get food
No.
when I want it.
Yes.
And
The
then
the challenging part is we need to plan for the future, but live in the present.
mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if you don't plan for the future, you panic in the present or
Have
you
you read
stress. Yeah.
have you read that book by Michael Singer?
Untethered soul?
So that was his big one, but the run after, I've only read like 5 books in my life, honestly, 'cause I'm
Oh, yeah, I love
dyslexic
that.
and I can't read, but there you love that? I've
Yeah, I
only
love
read
that. You've
5
only
books in
read
my
5 books. I know, I love that.
I'm just not I just can't do it, but, it's called The Surrender Project.
I have it. I have not read it. How is it?
It changed my life, like, literally changed my life because I was running a business, Little Star, and I had this massive payroll, so much pressure, and that's just the Surrender Project is basically a testimony of his life. And he starts the book and he says, I'm writing this first page as I'm flying to LA in my private jet.
Mm,
So highly successful. And then he takes you all the way back to the beginning of his life when he was just a hippie living in his Volkswagen van. All he wanted to do was meditate his whole life. And what you see is as he threads his life together is it's basic. He goes to this conference and he has this conversation with the creator, with God. And God poses the question to him, the creator, whatever you want to call it. Will you surrender to everything that I put in your path to me?
wow.
And when I present a door, will you go through it? And he says, yes,
Mm,
I will do that. And it's just like this visceral kind of promise that he makes with the creator. He's like,
wow.
I will do it. So I won't tell you the whole book, but to
Yeah.
start with, he drives home from this conference and he's on 5 acres of land, which is all he ever wanted. And he builds a little hut in the middle and he wants to meditate 8 hours a day. Like that
Wow.
to me seems hell. Well, who the hell would want to do that with their life? But he wanted to
Yeah.
eat like vegan food and just
Like, who
meditate.
wants to be with their thoughts 8 hours a day in
Yeah, that
silence?
sounds like
Yeah.
torture.
Torture.
So he's driving up his private, secluded driveway, and there's this woman building a hut on his land. And his initial reaction is, what the hell is she doing? Right?
Hello?
But he hears this voice in his head,
Oh,
surrender.
funny.
So he gets out of his truck. He says, hey. And she goes, oh, well, I heard that you meditate a lot and I kind of want to meditate. And I just thought I'd build a little
Come
spot down
on.
here and just maybe join you sometimes. And he's like, okay. And he walks up to his house and straps on his tool belt and goes down there and helps her finish the cabin. And then you zoom back and his whole life is a series of just him saying yes to these,
Wow.
everything that he had to say yes to was the opposite of what he had planned for his life.
Wow.
And
Surrender.
so he says, I surrender to the unfolding of life as it presents itself to me at this moment.
I
So
love
it's
that.
like the wave, he doesn't look at the wave way out in the ocean. He says, what's the crashing wave over my feet right now?
Yeah.
And so I heard an interview with him and the interviewer was like, well, you have like all of these businesses and you write books and you do this. He goes, how do you surrender when you have all this responsibility? And he goes like, well, after this podcast, what are you going to do? He's like, well, right now I'm writing a book. So I'm just going to go back to writing my book. And after the book's completed, I will then figure out what's next. So there's this strange dance I feel with like the responsibility of having to do the thing, run a business. I got to do payroll and I got to do this and I got to do advertising and planning. And also coupled with this surrendering to the fact that you literally have no control over, unless you have a contract with the government for like 5, 6, 7 years and you're guaranteed to have work. There's a form of security in that. But for myself and most entrepreneurs, there's this sense that I have that it's kind of magic. Like why would Jane Doe down the road call Little Star to do her renovation and not the 15 other companies? Like it's like the universe magic, something drew her, but that's not very tangible, right? It's not like a concrete thing. It's like sometimes my bookkeeper will say, hey, I don't know if we have enough in the bank for payroll. And I've learned over doing this for 20 years, I feel like I've reached this place now where I'm like, we'll figure it out because we always have.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, I would have like anxiety, up all night, worried, hustle. I'm realizing, because I haven't realized fully, but I'm realizing that I really don't have much control at all. Said a lot
I mean,
there.
there's so much in that. You get to have that realization. You get to have that. And you are pretty powerful with your mind, as we know.
Do we?
And there's this whole thing around manifesting that people talk about. And
Yeah, what is that? Is that hokey? Woo-woo?
Well, so if you repeat something in your mind over and over that's really clear and powerful and positive, it will happen because that's where you then go. So if I say in my mind, I manifest, let's just say I'm being hokey for a moment, that I'm going to have a warm coffee. I'm going to have a warm coffee. Guess what happens when I go and see a Starbucks? I'm going to go get that warm coffee. It didn't just appear. So what we're essentially doing is you are saying the thing that you want really clearly, and then you see it. But first you have to visualize it, and then you get to see it. And so we can call it manifestation, but in your mind, what you're doing is you're painting a really clear picture of what you trust, what you know, and then it will happen because that becomes the reality in front of you. So the thing is that we see a lot day to day, but we don't always understand what we're seeing. So if you say you want a coffee, all of a sudden there's 100 coffee shops. But if you didn't want a coffee, you won't even notice the coffee shops. So what you're doing is you're trusting that you will have money in the bank because inside you know that it will come. So you're positively setting intentions and trusting it.
Yeah, but that's scary when you say you had I don't have a business partner, but say you had a business partner. He's like, bro, I don't know if we're going to make payroll. And I'm like, it'll happen. Well, how's it going to
Right.
happen? Because there's nothing there, and I don't know if we're owed any money. And da, da, da. How, what do you mean? It's just like, how
Yeah.
can you? That's crazy.
Yeah,
Like
because you need
if
to
you
see
manifest.
the reality of it, whereas you're like, "I trust it's coming."
Yeah, which there's a voice in my head, or there's two parrots on my shoulder. One saying just trust and chill, and the other one saying no, no, no. Like I think what happens, for what I think is like habits are over since we were children, right? We develop these habits, and I think that
Mhm.
2 + 2 make 4. So in my head, traditionally, it's like worry equals result.
Yeah.
Because it's like
It doesn't.
you're not gonna make payroll. The last time we didn't make payroll, I stayed up all night and worried, and we made payroll.
But what
2
did
+
you
2 makes
do?
4.
So this is it.
Yeah.
Here's the point about it, is that you will do something to make the payroll. It doesn't just appear. Money just doesn't go in the bank. You do something to get the money in the bank.
Mhm.
And that's why manifestation doesn't just happen. You do something to manifest what you want.
Yeah. I think
So it's
that's
for
what
what
people
you're
get
doing.
confused by, like,
Yeah.
vision boarding. You know, when they have the Ferrari on the fridge and the boat
Yeah,
on the fridge and the house.
sure.
Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I have a vision, it's up here. That's just the first step to know where you're going. So it's like if I were to say to you, like, create a vision for your life, and you, let's say you put travel on it, right? I want to travel to hot places or whatever that is. You then unintentionally will set your goals to achieve your vision. But if you have no clue where you're going or what you're doing, that's where it feels like I'm lost.
Mhm.
And a lot of
Right.
people don't know that visualization is the first step to creating what you want. But
Mhm.
then you have to do the thing. Then you have to go put in the work.
Yeah, I think that's where people get a bit tripped up over it because
The
I've
work
seen
part of it.
folks that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's why manifestation has become this joke where it's like, but I've manifested a mansion. It's like, but what have you done to get the mansion?
I
Well,
know.
nothing.
I've manifested this amazing looking wife. Did you go out anywhere?
Have you
Yeah. Have
left
you
your
been out
house?
to the bar or been out? Because she ain't gonna just knock on your door.
Yeah. Do you go to the gym? Like, have you looked places for this incredible person?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that.
There is
It's
a
like
bit
that.
of
Yeah.
a dance, but there is some, yeah, there's some type of magic in there too, I think.
In the manifestation, there is. I was, Peter and I went for reflexology
Mhm.
last week. And this woman that was doing my reflexology was incredible.
Mm,
She said to me, and usually they don't talk, like they won't talk to us, right?
mm, mhm,
She was like, "You two have good energy. What do you do? What do you do in your life?" And I was like, "Well, he's a yoga teacher and I'm a like leadership coach." And she was like, "Yes, you have great energy." And then I said, "What do you do to work on your spirituality?" Because she brought up spirituality. And she said, "I'm always chanting. I'm always chanting in my brain." She was like, "Even if it's like, it's sunny out, I'm going to work." She was just like, and I was like, this woman's incredible because that's truly how to manifest things, is just
mhm,
repeat what you want in your head over and over, and you will eventually go in that direction and find the thing that you want.
mm.
It might
Yeah,
take
that
a day. It might take years. Who knows?
you have to push on the door though, right? Like, I think that surrender project part, like, if he had driven up that driveway, seen the lady building the hut, he could have just kicked her off the land.
Yeah.
He could have just
Yeah.
driven up to his house and just let her do her thing, but he did the whole time when he's strapping on his tool belt or saying hi to her, he's in his head, he's thinking, "This is completely screwing up my plan for my life."
Yeah.
So I think sometimes the plan might be, okay, here's the Ferrari on the fridge. Here's the whatever, the mansion in Mexico on the fridge.
Mm.
And I've got my own idea of how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But I think for me, what I've had to learn is that the journey to getting there is going to be a lot different probably than you have. And you
Yeah.
have to be willing to surrender because, we live in a culture now where everyone feels entitled.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you feel that? Like with the young, people are always complaining, I can't find a hard worker. I can't find a good helper. Like, all these kids are all entitled. Like, I, don't- I deserve more money. I deserve better than that. And I think that attitude won't get you to the destination, like you have to be willing to do some shitty things that you hadn't in your plan because you've got lots of stuff to learn.
Everything. So, you are calling it surrender. I love it. And I have practiced non-attachment. And so
Right.
you put the thing out there
Hmm.
and then you're going to get things in return. Haven't you heard that? Oh, there was this like parable around this man that was waiting for signs to be saved or something. And it was supposed to show up how he wanted to show up. But then, and then the universe said, I sent you a man with a stick. I sent you this. I sent you that. I sent you that. But you didn't take any of them. And it
Hmm.
wasn't the way this person saw it,
Hmm.
but it showed up so differently. So we set our goals, we set our vision, and then we remain so unattached,
Hmm.
however it shows up. So if you put a Ferrari on your fridge and you're like, I'm going to go into a store physically and buy the Ferrari, maybe you're going to get a job at a car dealership. And
Yeah.
if you're like, well, that's shitty, that's not my vision, maybe that was the way to the Ferrari that you just didn't see. So I like to say, I'm going to put it out there. It will show up, but I need to stay open to waiting for it and like seeing it show up in different ways.
Do you think that coming back to I always
Yeah.
come back to the bloody phones because I think
Oh,
we're at such a pivotal part in our life, like with AI
oh,
on the horizon now. Like it feels like
oh,
the Industrial Revolution where
right.
machinery's like we're at this turning point, right? Which is why I keep
Yeah.
talking about it because I think it's important to talk about. But do you feel that this comparison thing, somehow the youth have they've lost the process between getting the thing because they're just comparing themselves to the influencers who just have it all. And it's all glossy and fake.
Mm.
And we've forgotten, or young people have maybe forgotten that sometimes it's just some damn hard work. And
Well, I do think that I think back to our parents and our parents' parents and how when our generation came, they must have said similar things. Like they don't know what it's like to be on a boat, travel over to Canada and have nothing and start a shop,
mm-hmm,
a grocery store so that my family can eat. They have no idea what hard work is. And so my perspective, and I work with a lot of people about how to manage, different generations, is we must adapt and shift without judgment and not thinking that they have lost anything. I believe that we just need to say what is here now in the world and what is their experience like, not comparing it to, here's the comparison thing, where we lose understanding, where we go, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. How could they? Right. And we kind of dip in that below the line thinking is when we think that they should be a certain thing, or if they think they should be how we grew up.
which
And
they
then we look
should.
at them and go, they're lost. They're a lost generation. Whereas
Mm-hmm,
I get more curious and I go, it's going to be fascinating to see what
mm-hmm,
evolves here and they grow up. They know so much more than me right now. Like when my kids were even 10 and I gave them my phone, or even younger, I think they were like 6 on an iPad, and they just did things on this iPad that I was like, I didn't even know that function was available, but they did. So I'm more fascinated. And yes, they might not work the same that we did when we grew up, but it's more around how do we work
mm.
with them, not how do we get them to work how we work.
That is probably a
It's
healthy
it's called
posture. And
evolution.
yeah, yeah, I've been hearing this a lot. Like I'm a bit of an Eeyore sometimes. Like
Yeah, that's okay.
I can look at the darker side of things. And I've been
Yeah.
hearing from different people, like even my sister, who we always talk on this podcast, and she's like,
Nice.
it all works out in the wash, you know?
Well,
Like,
I do think that telling them that they like the expectation of work is great. And
mhm,
people can always say that. Here's what I expect of you. Please be here at this time, and here's what I expect you to do within that time. And I think
mhm,
feedback is great. Now, their
mhm,
pushback and their I want more money and da da da, we get to say no.
mhm.
They then have
Yes,
to go
and
figure it out.
yeah, it has made parenting fairly challenging. I would think, like when I think of the fights that our parents had with us when we were kids, it was probably something along the lines of, you stayed out too late, you left your bike on the boulevard, I saw you around the back of the school pretending to smoke.
Yeah, why were
Um,
you smoking in your room? Like, what is
yeah, you
happening?
listen to Nirvana and he's really depressed and is going to hang himself and you should listen to, and now it's like none of that. It's always like, you spend too much time on technology. Can you get off, please? Can you not,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, there's a whole different landscape. But I remember my grandmother, we were at this family reunion in England, and we were all on our laptops then, right? And so there was a bit of downtime in the reunion, and people were emailing each other, like emailing, just doing work, right? Because we had
Oh,
like
okay.
4 or 5 days together. And
Yeah.
she had a hearing aid, and she looked around and she started to cry. And I was like, "Boo,
Oh.
what's going on?" And she goes, "I look at you all," like in her, she's very British, right? She goes, "Nobody's talking, and you're all looking at these things, and I feel so lonely over here." And I said to her, "Well, Boo, I'm actually emailing someone across the world. Pretty incredible. Like, I'm connecting with people." And so I was being what my kids are, like I was in the other seat, and
Yeah.
she was looking at like, this is a net negative.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's
I was
different.
and I was thinking, "Oh, this is a positive," because I
Yeah.
was trying to kind of, um so yeah, I don't know. The landscape is changing so rapidly though, right? Like,
Yes.
because when we were
Yeah.
kids, there was probably like, what were the big things, like CDs, tape, it went from tapes to CDs, and that was a
Yeah.
big advancement, and then color television and maybe cable.
I even think laptops, like in my 20s, I got my first laptop and that wasn't a thing. I had a pager in high school,
Yeah, me too. They were cool.
like just communication has evolved.
Yeah, and then it was email. There was only
Yeah.
email, right? The internet.
Wild.
But there was big gaps between
Yeah.
those advances, right? But
Yeah.
now it's like there's a new social media platform coming, and they're getting
Right.
more advanced, and now we've got AI coming. So it's pretty hard as a parent to keep up with the constant onslaught of new distractions.
I said to Peter the other day, I said, there was, I was in Alaska and there was an elder who was speaking and she keeps bringing it back to values. What are
Mm,
your values? What are your values as a family? What are your values as a people? And so I just said to Peter, we need family values because if we don't know our family values, we will get lost in this world. The kids will go out whenever, we don't know what our yeses and nos are. So I brought this back to him 2 times because I was like, we really have to get solid on what do we value as a
mm,
family to even guide our decisions. So I'm coming back to that. I think it's so important.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I know someone that has a contract on her fridge with technology, and the kids sign it.
Yeah, that's
And it's
smart.
yeah, they were like, "I will spend this much time on it. If I spend more than that, that means that I won't have some the other day." And then they read through the contract and agree, and they all sign, and they stick it on the fridge. So
Yeah.
instead of fighting, they like, "Go look at the contract."
Some things that I take for granted that we do that we never talk about is like phones when we come in. So I think a lot of people sleep with their phones in their room. Do you sleep with
Mm,
your phone in your room?
no, I've stopped
Yeah,
doing
okay.
that.
Yeah. So I think that's a really big secret that a lot of people don't do. And so phones stay in one, when we had like phones, home phones,
With
and it
cords.
stayed in one, you didn't like break, I mean, unless
Remember
you had
when you had the 100-foot cable that you'd, like, pull up the stairs and into your bedroom like a tripping
a
hazard, and it's all
And then it's under
tangled?
the door. Oh my god, memories. Well, I think that that was so smart. So we keep our phones in one phone area and they live there. We can check it, but they have to stay there and then we do not bring them upstairs. Like they stay downstairs
Mhm.
because there's too many things you can do on a phone now. I don't even know why they're called a phone.
No, they're, like, more powerful than the computers that put the Sputnik on the moon, they say, in these little
Oh my,
devices.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, there's so
Yeah, that's
many
a black
topics.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black hole.
So is there, what's the one piece of advice you would give, generally? Is it make a vision board, start journaling? What's the one thing that you would say?
Well, when you asked that, the voice in my head that just said the thing, so maybe I'll say that without overthinking it, is you are not alone. And I think that people think that they're alone with their own challenges and problems and where they're stuck and even what they're doing great.
Mm,
And what I've been really doing this year is reaching out and going on different free webinars and reaching out to different coaches and looking over here, like really just going outside of my comfort zone to kind of ask people for what they think and how they can help me and da da da. So I just want to say no one is alone, and there's so many people out there who can support people with growth. Um,
Mm.
and no one has to know. Like, it's all about creating connections and conversations.
Yeah. Community is like we were created to be in community, right? That's
Yes.
one thing that really stood out to me moving to the island here. It is that the community over here is so vibrant. Um,
Mm.
and when I come back to Vancouver for work, I see the stress level. Like there's a vibration in Vancouver that isn't here. But that said, you have to put the work in. Like I'm not. I could quite easily just work by myself for a long time. Like I'm very bit of a lone wolf solitude,
Yeah.
which is a very avoidant type of trait. But I realize that I'm actually happier when I'm with other people. I'm like, what is that joy that
Mm.
comes up in me? It's like, yeah, you were created to
Yeah.
be around. Yeah. And so, you have to say, hey, can we go out for a coffee?
Yeah.
Can I come? Like, you have to put the work in. It doesn't just happen. Like, you
Yeah.
have to ask and go and do. And then there's a return on investment after you do it for a certain amount of times. It starts to perpetuate, and then it'll come back to you. Or yeah, community. But it doesn't just come, right? You have to put the work in, like all these things in life.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing that we talked about, and the through line is like all of it takes, and work is a challenging word because work sometimes means hard for people.
Right.
But it's like, just take the steps, reach out, get curious, take any steps. Once a day, I've been reaching out to people that I haven't talked to for years. I've been reaching out to new people that are very successful to say, "Hey, do I have an area to grow in this area?" Like, just get curious. That's
Hmm.
kind of my intention this year. And that's, yeah, no one's alone, and we're not doing this alone.
Hmm.
We're not doing life alone.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Joby. This
Yeah,
was so
thank you.
fun.
And I always love your positivity. I try to drag people into a negative spiral, but you're like, no, I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that at all. Just feel fulfilled making lunch for your kids. So I appreciate that.
Well, the opposite is like resentment, right? So which one would I rather be in? Yeah, I'd rather be in
Yeah,
the like, yeah, positive.
cool.
Thanks so much. This
Thanks,
was
and
so fun.
give my love to
Yeah.
your dear man, your husband,
Yes,
Peter.
yes. You too. Yeah.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll try and drop in for yoga when I'm next in Vancouver.
Yes, please. I'm not teaching right now, just virtual. Um, but yes, come by. Let's
Yeah,
hang out.
cool.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Love you.
Okay. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.